Good afternoon. Today, the second session in this project appraisal and financing. Last Saturday, I have explained, I have started this session. Huh? Okay. Right. So we have done the introduction, and I have given the definition of project and project financing. I have explained. So all these things I have done in the previous last Saturday class. Then comparison of process and project explained. Process means is a routine operation. When it is project, it is a very specific operation. So when you compare, you can understand it easily. Then there are private and public projects. Examples: public projects means the project done by carried out by the government or government organizations. Yes, and private is by the private people. That also we have seen examples. Then in the public projects, who are the stakeholders? That also we have seen. Then the projects to meet 3 targets, which is very important. That is, the quality of the project depend on 3 things. One is scope, what is the area outline of the project, what is the area cover, what is the benefit the people are going to get, then cost of the project, then the time schedule. These are the 3 items decide the quality of a project, whether it is public project or a private project. These 3 things. So when we are implementing a project, we must try to achieve these 3 targets. The scope, what are the benefits the people are going to get out of this project, what are the outcome, then the cost of the project. Sometimes we may plan a project maybe 100 million rupees, the total project cost. But sometimes it may be 120 million, 130 million. Cost overrun. We call it cost overrun. Similarly, the time schedule, I need to finish it within 3 years. Sometimes it may go for 4 or 5 years. Time overrun. So the cost overrun, time overrun. So we must try to avoid these 2 things, cost overrun and the time overrun. We must try to finish the project within the cost, expected cost plus the expected time frame. So the quality of the project depends on these 3 items. In the project cycle, we have seen this is identification of a project. Somebody has to identify. So if they think that they can go on the project, then they must prepare the project. What is this formulation? How they are going to implement the project. That is preparation and formulation of the project. Then some other person or some other party has to analyze and appraise and see whether this project is good, whether it is can be implemented. Analysis and appraisal. And if that's also okay, then the implementation. So with the implementation, monitoring, supervision, all these things will go on. Once the project is completed, then you have to evaluate and say whether all these 3 targets have been achieved. That is, scope of the project, whether it is achieved, time of the project, time frame achieved, and cost of the project, whether it is achieved. So that is evaluation. If that is satisfactory, after evaluation, if they find this project implementation is very satisfactory, they can implement similar projects elsewhere. In the project management, that is very important thing. That also we have seen. Then we have seen, now we have come to the credit institutions, financial institution. They are giving various type of facilities to their customers. We call credit evaluation by financial institution. One type is consumer credit, that is personal loans to the customers to purchase various consumer durable items. or maybe to send their children abroad on a higher education, or give dowry to your children when at the time of their wedding or marriage. That is consumer credit. Banks can finance them. If everything is satisfactory, if the customer is credit worthy, the bank can grant this facility. We call it consumer credit. And then the commercial credit. So that is also, there are two types: small and medium business credit and the large scale business credit. We call it corporate credit. And then the development credit. Sangvartana. So their microfinance is coming under this one. That is poverty alleviation program, microcredit, and then the project finance. That's what we are doing here now. Project finance, especially for SMEs. SMEs, we are providing project finance. Then the international trade credit for the import and export business. That's also part of the commercial credit. That also comes under commercial credit. So these are the main areas the financial institutions, banks and finance companies are lending. These are the major areas. Then the project appraisal by financial institution. How do they appraise when when some customers submit a project proposal, want financial assistance? The bank has to analyze that one, appraise that one, evaluate that one. How do they evaluate or appraise it? So there is a systematic way of appraising. First, of course, they will appraise the market appraisal, how the market for the product or services provided going to be produced by this project. Market appraisal, then the technical appraisal, then the entrepreneur or management appraisal, environmental appraisal, then financial appraisal, and economic appraisal. Finally, risk analysis, whether there are other risks involved in this project. So how to mitigate those risks? And then loan structuring. So how you are going to provide the credit facilities to these projects. So this way we will do the appraisal. That is, the financial institution do the appraisal like this way. These are all I have done. But anyway, I'm just running through. In case if somebody didn't follow it or anything, yes. Then the stages of project appraisal, yeah. When a project proposal is given to the bank, how the bank officers or the credit officers, managers handle it. Prior preliminary discussion with the customer, and then after the preliminary discussion, he will peruse the project report, study and see collection of information and facts regarding these projects. If some information are not available in the report, you have to collect these information and facts. Then sometimes certain things, of course, you may not aware, that is credit officer or the bank manager may not know about this project. So in that case, consult with some experts if necessary. Consultation with experts if necessary. And then conducting the appraisal, going through the appraisal, doing the appraisal. If everything is satisfactory, go for customer interview. That should be open and straightforward. And if you are satisfied with the interview, this project is feasible, you can consider financing, then go for the site inspection. If site inspection also very satisfactory, then you conclude it, you can go ahead with the financing. If not, you just decline the facility. So market appraisal, we have discussed in the last previous session. We have discussed how to do the market. So these are some information to you all, credit officers, bank managers. When a project report is given to you, how you will do, how you have to do it. So what I am saying here, or what I have given here, you don't need to follow everything. Depending on the project, yes. Sometimes the project may they want to produce certain item for the domestic use. For the country, within the country, you want to market it. So analyze the domestic analysis, domestic demand analysis, like that. If they want to restrict themselves, the product to be marketed within a region, within a southern region or a western region, then of course analyze within the region. But anyway, I am giving the covering overall. So depending on the situation, you have to use. market appraisal, yes. Then finally, you will justify justification of the market potential for the product or services. Justify. It is satisfactory or not satisfactory. Yes, you have to justify. In the technical appraisal, we have done that one also. Basic approach is same but differ on project types. So project types, broadly we can categorize agricultural projects, livestock projects, fisheries and aquaculture projects, industrial projects. In the case of industrial projects, processing, mining, milling, value addition, quality improvement, that is, yes, manufacturing, yes. Then there may be construction projects. So construction project maybe they want to construct about 30, 40 stories, condominium buildings, apartment buildings. Yeah, like that. Yes, that also how to. So technical appraisal, this type of projects, and sometimes the marketing projects also. Sometimes they have the product and everything services, but they want to go ahead with the marketing. So they want to have a marketing project. So technical appraisal also I have explained. Then technical appraisal, basic considerations, this also I have explained. Yes. So basic considerations. So these are also is a broad way I have explained. So depending on the situation, you have to apply only the needed things you have to technical appraisal, but on things you have to do analyze that you have to select. So in a broad way, I have given covering all type of projects, what things you have to look for in the technical appraisal I have given. Okay. Production process. In the technical appraisal, this of course I have done, but anyway I will explain it now. In the case of production process, in the case of technical appraisal, there's a production process. Whatever the type of project, how the product or services are produced. So you must know the process of that production. We call it production process, how a particular thing is manufactured, or how a particular service is going to be provided. You have to. Or in the case of agriculture projects, how the agriculture is going to be, that project is going to be carried out. So maybe they want to grow banana cultivation. So how the banana cultivation is established? Land preparation, like that, then digging the hole, getting the planting material, planting, and then applying fertilizer, irrigation, all sort of things. The cultivation practices in the case of, or in the case of dairy farm projects, yes, how you will construct the dairy shed and what type of animals you are going to bring, how you will look after, how the weeding, everything, all those things you have to. So that is, so in the case of industrial project, how a particular item is manufactured, how a particular item is produced. So this is called production process. So depending the type of the projects, you must prepare the production process. You must understand the production process. From that only the balance other things will develop. So now we take manufacturing. So now I'm going to use the board. Please click the whiteboard. Then you can see the board clearly. Please click the whiteboard so you can see the board clearly. Right. Production process. Manufacturing. This also I have explained in my. But anyway, I just want to. Good example I have taken. Rice production. Rice from the paddy milling. Paddy milling. So paddy stores there. From the paddy stores, paddy is coming. Paddy. Actually, to the paddy stores, the paddy has come from the farm. From the farm. Paddy fields. So this paddy maybe mixed with the soil and small stones and other thing. So in the case of paddy processing or producing rice, you have to remove those stones and sand and other material. So there is a machinery called stone remover. In the paddy mill, they will have this machinery, stone remover. So that will remove the stones and sand and various other external material. And the paddy will come. But sometimes the paddy may mix with a lot of stones and sand. So they may use two machines, stone removers. This one and this one. So paddy is coming. Paddy is coming. Right. Now, the outer cover, the husk has to be removed. So, there is another machine called other. Now, the outer cover is removed. The husk will come separately. Husk. Now, the rice will come. Sometimes this rice also may have some stones. So, again, we have to use stone remover. Right. So now the rice is coming. Stone remover, rice is coming. So now the rice, there may be some colored particles, black, yellow color particle. If it is samba, when you see black color particle or yellow color, you may not like. So to improve the quality of the rice, you have to remove that one also. So there is another machine called color separator. Another machine called color separator. That machine separates the colored particles. Colored, C-O-U-L-E-R-E-D, colored particles. The rice is come. Now, the people like some polished rice. So the rice has to be polished. So there is another machine called polisher. Polisher. So that polish. Here the polished rice will come. Now what will happen? This has to be weighing and packing. Weighing and packing machine. This will go to the stores. Stores. This will go to the stores. So this is the production process of paddy milling and producing the rice. So that this is a flow chart. We call it, this is a flow chart for paddy milling and producing rice. So here you have to prepare this flow chart. If there is a project, if you are getting for paddy milling and producing rice, you must have this flow chart prepared. Similarly, whatever the production, whatever the type of production, you must have a production flow chart. You have to. Based on that one, so many things you can make. Based on that one, so many calculations, other things you can make for the project. Right. Now, what is the capacity of these machines? The machine will have the capacity. So now, this machine may have 10 tons per hour capacity. 10 tons per hour. Very big machine, 10 tons per hour. So this also may have 10 tons per hour. This may be about 9 tons. per hour. So this is 10 tons per hour. This is 12 tons per hour. This is 10 tons per hour. So this also 10 tons per hour. Capacity of machinery per hour. This is the capacity of machinery.
Nasa board ko ito lagu kala demo.
හරිද? ආපෝ මම මේකට එනකොටම මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ?
මෙතන present now. Window. Share.
Right.
මේක කළා share.
Okay, come on. Right.
මම මෙතෙන්ට ගිහිල්ලා මේක ගත්තා. Stop presenting. for board. Unimaginable.
Okay, so this is the capacity of these machineries. But now we can see 10 tons. So per hour 10 tons. This one clear 10 tons and coming, 10 tons coming. But here 9 tons. So what will happen? Only 9 tons only it will allow to go out. It will allow only 9 tons only. It will process. This color machine will process only 9 tons. This has 10 tons. This has 12 tons, more than that one. So what happened when the paddy come, here the 10 tons coming, from this one machine 10 tons coming, but it allows to go only 9 tons. So excess paddy will get accumulated here. Though this machine has 12 tons, here only 9 tons. Here after 9 tons only will come. Because this machine allows only 9 tons per hour. Allow only 9 tons per hour. So here 9 tons only will come. Though this has 12 tons, capacity is over capacity, useless. So what is the problem in this one is the machineries are not balanced. Machineries are not balanced. So this machinery has to be balanced. So at the time of project preparation, you must see whether the machineries are capacity balanced. That is one thing. Machinery should be balanced capacity. Capacity balanced is machinery should be. That is one thing you must keep it in your mind. So whatever the project, you have to prepare this production process flow chart. This is the production process flow chart. So there, of course, capacity that should be balanced. And then we know in a day, if the capacity and everything balanced, in a day, if it is an 8-hour shift day, 8 hours per day shift, how much of paddy will be used and how much of rice will come production. So per day in a single shift day, per day how many tons of rice will be produced. You can assess. Based on that one, annually how many tons of rice could be produced by them. So depending on the number of days working, leaving the holidays and everything, you can plan it. So this will help you to do your projections. Right, that is. And then depending on the layout, depending on the layout, what extent of factory you may need, how many square feet you need, what is the length, what is the breadth, of the building you need, you can plan it. The length and breadth of the building, the square area, floor area of the building, you can. So depending on that one, what is the land extent you may need? What is the land extent you may need? What is the land extent you may need? Depending on the stores and other stores, other buildings, office, etc., considering all other buildings and everything, what is the extent of land you need? You can plan it. Right. So this is raw rice production. This raw rice product. raw rice. Then another thing, if it is manual or semi-automatic operation, it can be fully automatic operation, or it can be semi-automatic operation, or it can be manual operation. If it is a fully automatic operation, then from machinery to other machinery, how the paddy will be transferred. So there are, yes, there are electrically operated way the rice paddy will be transferred to here. Similarly, from one machine to another machine, it will be transferred mechanically, that is by power system, electrically operated way the paddy will be transferred from one machine to other machine. That is fully automatic system. So in that case, how much power will be required? You can calculate to operate these machines. To operate this machine, how much power you need, how many kilowatts hours you need, and similarly from transfer from one machine to another machine, elevators will be used. We call that elevators will be used. Elevators. Transferring from one machine to other machine. You can. So, what is the electrical consumption of the elevators? What is the electrical consumption of this machinery? So, these are for this production process, how much the electrical consumption you can calculate and you can plan it. You can plan it. So, one by one, so what are the things? One is factory area you can plan. Factory area you can plan. Land extent you can plan. Land extent you can plan. Input quantity you can plan. How much of paddy per day? So based on that one, per month, per year you can. And then output quantity. How much of rice produced per day you can plan. How much rice produced per day you can plan. Per day and then per month and then per year you can plan. So this will facilitate your projections, annual projections, right? And then output. Then electricity consumption. You can plan. Electricity consumption you can plan. Then another thing, if it is fully automatic, maybe you may have one or two labors at the important points. And a supervisor you can plan. If it is semi-automatic, then you have to increase the number of labor. That also you can plan. If it is fully manual, then you have to plan manual labor requirement to transfer the paddy or rice from one machine to another machine. You have to plan. So labor requirement, you can plan. So see how many things from this production process, flow chart, so many things you can plan. Factory area, land extent requirement, input quantity per day requirement, output quantity per day, electricity consumption, labor requirement, everything you can plan. And then mobility requirement, that is vehicles bring the paddy. Vehicle bringing the paddy. How many vehicles you need? How many trips they have to make? Similarly, based on this one, output, transporting output, transporting the rice, that you can plan. Transporting rice, you can plan. So many things you can plan from this production process. This is raw rice. And in the case of parboiled rice, earlier parboiled rice, that is, they keep the paddy in big pans and big utensils. They boil those days. But now it is not so. For the parboiled rice, that was done earlier. But now more sophisticated method, right? How do they have? They will have steam productions. Steam production. Boilers. Boilers. Then there are funnel sort of equipments. Funnel sort of equipment. From this one, after stone removed from the paddy, that is stone after paddy is coming from the stone remover. In the case of raw rice, it is straight away going to the oven. But in the case of steamed rice or parboiled rice, what is happening? The paddy is coming from here to these funnels. Paddy is coming to these funnels. Paddy is coming to this funnel. That mostly done by manual. From here, the paddy is taken to the funnel. That is mostly done by the manual method. Then the steam will be passed through the funnel this way. Steam is passed into the funnel. So on the top, the rice that is after coming from the stone remover, the stones and sand have been removed, that rice is coming to the funnel from the top portion, and from the other side, the steam is passed into that one. What will happen? This steam will steam the paddy. Steam the paddy. This is allowed for only a few minutes. Only for a few minutes. Then the paddy will be steamed. Thereafter, the paddy will be taken out to the dryer. Taken out to the dryer. To dry it. To evaporate the water. To evaporate the water. So, dryer, it will taken into the dryer. In those days, after soaking in the water, right, before that, there is another thing I have forgotten to tell you. I must tell you, right? After removing, sorry, I am erasing this one. This paddy from the stone remover, after that one, it will soak in water. In big tanks, this paddy is soaked in water, H2O, water, right, for 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. The paddy coming out from the stone remover, it's soaked in water for 2 to 3 days. Then only, so now paddy is soaked. Paddy is soaked. Then only the funnels shaped equipments. Funnel shaped equipments. From the soaked paddy will be transferred from here to the funnel. Soaked one. Like this way, it will be transferred to the funnel. And then the steam will be passed from the bottom portion. Now, the paddy is steamed. Paddy is steamed. This steam will be passed only for few minutes. Only for few minutes. Then after that one, paddy will be removed and sent to the dryer to dry the paddy, to send out the vapor, water vapor out the dryer. Thereafter, from the dryer, paddy will be sent to the huller to remove the husk. To remove the husk. Hope you will understand clearly. To the huller. Thereafter, the process is same. After the process is same. So once again, now for this first I have explained for the raw rice production. Now for the rice production, that is parboiled rice. There is a there is boiler. The boiler will generate steam, and the paddy, after coming from the stone remover, it will be soaked in tanks, water in tanks for 2 to 3 days. After that, the paddy will be transferred to the funnel-shaped these equipments. Funnel-shaped equipment will be transferred. And then from below, the steam will be sent through these funnel. The steam will go and steam the paddy. Steam the paddy. This will be done for a few minutes. Okay, after that, this paddy, steamed paddy, will be transferred to the dryer to dry the to evaporate the water vapors. It will be dryer. Those days, after soaking in tanks, what do? They put it in big pans and boil those days. So the quality of the rice is not there really. But now there are improvements, technological improvement. And then after boiling, they put it on the yard, cemented yard to dry. So in those days, paddy mills, you can see there are big cemented yards are there. So therefore they put it on the yard to dry the paddy, soak paddy to dry. But now it is dryer is there, machinery is there, dryer. So it is dry. After dry, the paddy will be transferred to the huller. There again, it will be hulled, outer cover will be removed. All those processes will go as it is. This is the production process in the case of parboiled rice or steamed rice. So now, in the case of steamed rice, the machinery, more machinery will be needed. You may need boiler, you may need these tanks to soak the paddy, and you have this funnel shape of apparatus or equipment to steam the paddy, and then the dryer you will have. Right. So now I want to ask you one thing. What do you think about working capital requirement? Working capital requirement. What do you think of working capital requirement in these two processes here? Of course, what we have seen, two processes. One is raw rice production, other one is steamed rice production. In the case of steamed rice production, working capital requirement will be more. In the case of steamed rice production, working capital requirement will be more. The reason is this raw rice production will be done quickly. Maybe in 1 day. If you are putting the paddy here, the same day you are getting the raw rice. So time duration, in the case of time duration is shorter than the steamed rice production. The steamed rice production itself 2-3 days. So definitely steamed rice production may take about 3-4 days time. As the time is going, if the more time, then the working capital requirement also will be more in the case of steamed rice production. So this is basic. So you can plan your working capital requirement also from this production process flow chart. From this production process flow chart, you can prepare how much working capital required for the raw rice requirement for the steam rice production. All those things you can plan from the production process. So this is an important thing. Yeah. Okay. And then I want to go to the presentation. Right. Production process, right. So flow chart with activities and time dimension. So when you draw the flow chart, what are the activities? What this machinery will do? And what is the duration? Each activity, what is the duration? Then you have to plan it. So based on that one, land extent, please, yes. Land extent, what is the building area? What are the basic facilities requirement? You can plan. Then machinery and equipment specification, you can plan. What type of machinery you need? What is the capacity of this machinery? What are the other specification? You can plan. Then the balancing. Balancing, I have told you. Yes, here the machinery should be balanced without any obstruction. The process should go on smoothly without having the bottlenecks. Here in this case, this 9-ton capacity machinery is going to be a bottleneck. This is like a road. One wide road come and very narrow bridge. So closer to the narrow bridge, vehicles will come and accumulate. There is a traffic jam there. So similarly, so here also it should not happen. So you must balance the machineries to avoid bottlenecks, preventing bottlenecks. So you must have a layout plan. So this we call it layout plan of the production process, layout plan. Then the raw material utilization, how much raw material you need, and how it is utilized, the requirement, then labor, technical support requirement, power, fuel usage, and other utilities requirement, mobility requirement, that is how many lorries should bring raw material, that is in this case paddy, how many vehicles should take away the production, that is the rice, mobility requirement, then input and output ratio. This is another important thing. Input and output ratio. So I will erase this one now. So in this case, paddy, how much rice you will get? In the case of raw rice, in the case of steamed rice, in the case of raw rice, about 68 to 70% you will get. So steamed rice also something similar to about 70 to 72% you will get. So because of that one, when you put 1,000 kilogram of paddy, output Here 680 to 700 kg. In this case 700 to 720 kg rice. So you can plan it. Per day, what is the output? Per day, what is the input? You can plan it. Input-output ratio. This is in this case. In the case of paddy milling. Similarly, all other industrial projects, you must have this production process. Whatever the industrial project, yes, they will be utilizing raw material, there will be output, production will be there. So, what is the input-output ratio you have to find out? You will be using. Then the pollution estimation. So this paddy mill may have pollution. What is the type of pollution? It may have air pollution. It may have air pollution, right? When they steam the paddy, the smell will be there. So it may disturb the surrounding area people. Pollution. And sometimes the machine is working. Noise pollution. Noise pollution. Sometimes the other output, this husk and other thing, that may go to the waterways. So sometimes water pollution. Water pollution. So you must estimate. And how to prevent this pollution? So from this production process, you can judge whether there will be any water pollution, whether there will be air pollution, whether there is noise pollution. So you have to estimate it and how to prevent this type of pollution. So that also this production process will help you. And finally, quantity and cost estimations. For this one, you have to estimate the cost of this portion of the project. Machinery, each machinery, what is the cost and everything, and putting the electricity connections, everything, and the buildings and everything, cost estimation. From this one, production process flow chart, after preparing that one, so many things you can prepare for the project. Once again, I will run through it so you will easily understand. Flow chart with activities and time dimension you have to prepare. So that is the production process flow chart. So based on that one, what is a land extent? What is a building area? What are the basic facilities you need? You can plan. Then machinery and equipment. So what type of machineries and equipment you need? Specification, balancing the machinery, preventing the bottlenecks. So prepare a layout plan. Then the raw material utilization and what are the raw material you need? What is the requirement? What quantity you need? Then labor, technical support requirement. Yeah, how many labor you need? Technical support, how many officers, how many people, what type of technical support you need, you can plan. Then power and fuel usage and other utilities requirement. Power, fuel, and whether it is water and other utilities, yes. Mobility requirement, I have explained to you. Input-output ratios, I have explained to you. Pollution estimation, yes. And finally, quantity and total cost estimation from this production process, you can plan it. So after that, this of course, with this one, we are concluding the technical evaluation. So this is industrial. So similarly, all other type of, whatever the type of projects, you can. Cultivation projects, yes, you can. Any livestock projects, you can. Each thing, yes, in the case of cultivation, yes, how the cultivation practice, how it will be cultivated. From land preparation, planting, fertilizer, and then disease control, pest control, water supply, everything. And when the harvesting, everything. You have to do it. Sometimes you may not know. Oh, in that case, you have to consult a consultant. who is specialized in that particular area, get his advice. So when you do 2-3 projects, it will be easily you will get into it. Right. And now entrepreneur and management appraisal, this is very important in the project evaluation. Management quality of key personnel. Integrity, reliability, and competence of the personnel. Actually, there should be a balanced team. The balanced team. What's the meaning of balanced team? The management should be a balanced team. That is, financial manager, finance manager, production manager, marketing manager, administration manager, finance manager, production manager, marketing manager, administration manager, so on. So each important position should be managed. Each important position should be, so there should be, it's a balanced team. It should be a balanced team. So all the people who are in this important position, they must have sufficient experience and qualification. In the case of finance manager, he must be he's an accountant, so he must have accounting qualification and he must have the experience also. Similarly, production manager, he must be specialized in production, technology, and he also should have sufficient experience. Similarly, marketing manager, administration manager, all these people, they should have sufficient experience plus good qualification. You must see whether they possess. Sometimes, I have seen some projects, the same qualified people are managing different positions. Finance also managed by, and production also managed by, marketing also managed by, same qualification. All the people, 4 or 5 people, all have the same type of qualification they are managing. No, they don't have experience, they don't have qualification for the, maybe they may have only one area they can manage, but other areas they can't manage. So it should be a balanced team with qualification and experience. Each person with relevant qualification and experience they must do. And apart from that, their integrity is important, their reliability is important, their competence is important, and you are the person who are going to evaluate or appraisal that one. And apart from that, how do they face with risk? So in a risky situation, how is their reaction? How they will attend to that one? Are they prepared to face any risky situation? That type of thing you have to assess. So this is very important. This managerial or entrepreneur appraisal is important because all other things may be okay, but if this is weak, there is a chance for the project to fail because they are the people who are going to manage everything. They are the people who are going to manage finance, administration, production, marketing. Everything should be managed by these people. So these people should be, yes, integrity, reliability, competence they should have, and they must have good qualification and sufficient experience. And apart from that, that should be a balanced team. So this you have to do. Depending on the project, you have to analyze. Then the environmental appraisal. The part, of course, I have already told you, environmental appraisal. So when we say environment, now the environment we describe as pestle. P-E-S-T-E-L. Political, economical, social, technological, ecological, and then legal. So we call it pestle analysis. So how this project is react with the environment, and how the environment react with the project. The both way we must see. Both way we must see. So how political will affect the project? Political situation, how the project will be affected. The economical situation, how the interest rate, inflation, and foreign exchange rates, how it will affect the project. And social environment, how the social environment will affect the project, how the project will affect the social environment. In certain areas, uh, uh, now see, the animal, killing of animal, slaughterhouses. This example, slaughterhouses. You won't be able to put slaughterhouses everywhere. No, you can't. That one is the legal system is preventing that one. And apart from that, there is social opposition for that type of thing. There are social opposition for establishing slaughterhouses. Social and culture. Social and cultural. Certain projects are opposed by social and cultural, opposed for the reason social and cultural reasons. So you must study that one also. And then technological. Yeah, how the technology is with this particular project. Whether any technological change will affect the project. Whether any technological change will affect the project. That is under technological waste disposal, pollution control, all those things there. And if actually that comes with the ecological also. Ecology means the surrounding, that is water, air, soil, fauna, and flora. All these things together we call ecological. Ecology, all these things we call. So this project, how the project affects this ecology? How the project affects this ecology? It may pollute water, it may pollute air, it may pollute soil. Fauna means animals. Fauna means animals. Flora means plants. Flora means plants. Fauna and flora. How this will affect the ecology, the project. So that also you have to see whether this project has any negative impact on the ecology, on water, on air, on soil, fauna and flora. Yes, whether it will affect. There are so many places, there are so many projects affecting the ecology. And then legal system. How the legal system is with this project? How the legal system is with this project? Whether the project has any impact on the legal system, whether the project will get affected by the legal system. So all these things you have to analyze. Environmental appraisal. So you have to obtain approval from the environmental authority. Environmental authority license should be obtained to implement the project. So as an appraisal officer, you must see that one, whether environmental authority will give approval for this project. Before granting any facility, you must ensure that one. So this is pestle analysis you will be doing. Then financial appraisal. Financial appraisal. This is very important because everything finally comes to this financial feasibility. financial feasibility. So you must appraise financial. Financial projections based on reliable technical and marketing assumptions. Now the financial statements, you would have heard financial statements. Balance sheet, P&L, profit and loss, cash flow statement. So this financial statement, there is operating financial statement. That is currently the company's the enterprise is going on, so they have their financial statement, currently operating financial statement. So generally we ask for last 3 years, financial statement we ask. If it is a new one, they won't be able to. If it's a new enterprise, they won't be able to give you. But an enterprise running for some about few years, they can give you the. And so now you do the analysis. When you do the analysis, financial projection based on reliable and technical marketing assumption, you will, yes, you would have done the marketing appraisal. You would have done the technical appraisal. From the technical appraisal, you may estimate what is the quantity of items to be produced. You may plan it based on the technical appraisal. If it is a manufacturing unit, manufacturing company, then of course, based on the technical assumption, technical appraisal, you plan how many units of the particular product will be produced. So that is reliable. You have to see whether it is a reliable production. Then from the marketing, you will plan how many items can be marketed, sold. At what price it will be sold. What may be the expenses incurred in producing and selling these items. So these, based on that one, you will make the future projection. So we call it projected financial statement. Projected financial statement. One is the operating financial statement, that what you have now. Other one, the projected financial statement. In future, how the with the project, how much item will be produced, what is the income they will derive, what is the expenses, everything. So this is projected financial statement. So here also you will project balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, everything you will be project. So that's what we call financial projection based on reliable technical and marketing assumption. You have to do it. Financial appraisal. Then estimation of project cost. Estimation of project cost. So what is the project cost? And financing plan. How are you going to finance this one? If the project is acceptable, if you are going to do it, then you, in the appraisal of financial appraisal, you have to see all these things you have to done, and you have to estimate what will be the project cost. I am placing this. Project cost. So what are the items? One is the land, project cost, estimation. So that is another code. We can call investment plan. We can call it as investment plan also. Investment plan, we can call it. In the project, what and what item they are going to invest. So all these things together, you will find the project cost. Plan. Right. And then buildings. And then machinery. And then vehicles. And then other fixed assets. All these are assets, fixed assets. All these are land fixed asset, building fixed asset, machinery fixed asset, vehicle fixed asset. So, but these are fixed asset, but we are naming it land, building, machinery, vehicle. Then other fixed asset, we call it other fixed assets. Right. And then another important investment, working capital. Working capital. And then there is another item, preliminary and pre-operative. Preliminary and pre-operative expenses. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 important items comprise the project cost of a project. So, what is the total cost? Total cost. Land. And you must take now, the person may have about 5 acres of land. Person may have about 5 acres of land. But for the project, he may need only 2 acres. So, though he has 5 acres, you must take only 2 acres for your cost consideration. Otherwise, if you take the 5 acres, that will inflate the customer's equity contribution. If 1 acre is worth about 1 million, then 5 acres, if you take 5 acres, you will consider 5 million, his contribution. But no, his contribution is going to be only 2 million because we are considering only 2 acres land for this project. Other 3 acres, let it be there, but it is not necessary for this project. So you must take what is the land extent needed for the project. Right. So we will, what is the cost of it? We estimate it. And the building, various types of building. If it is a paddy milling, then factory area, input storage, output storage, workers' quarters, manager, maybe if the manager is staying there, manager's quarters, tools for the tool, and then standby generator room, then watcher's hut, security hut, different things. What are necessary for the project you must consider. So, building, what is the cost of building? Then the machinery, various type of, we have seen, if it is a paddy milling project, various types of milling. So, what is the cost of the machinery? You must get the invoices from the suppliers, various suppliers from whom you are going to buy. So, you must have the machinery. Then the vehicle also definitely they may need for the input transport and output transport. So that also you estimation. And other fixed assets. So what are the other fixed assets? Yes. Now furniture and fittings. They may need furniture and fittings. They may need computers. So this is a modern paddy mill mean, yes, you have to, yes. So computers. And then you may have standby generator. Somewhat comfortable, yes. The manager's furniture and fittings. Laborers' quarters, furniture and fittings. All these things will form the other fixed asset. So yes. Other fixed asset. Then the working capital. Here it is. Altogether 7 items. Then the working capital. So working capital comprising raw material, then work in process, then finished good, Then credit sales. Depending on the time, for what period they have to keep this. Raw material storage, how many months? Work in process, that is in between. Semi-finished good. Semi-finished goods. Artha Nimibanda. Semi-finished good. Then finished good. The paddy, all, that is rice. Stock of rice. Credit sale. Sometimes they may sell it on credit. So what is a credit sale? So all these things calculate, and that will comprise the working capital. Actually, this we call it, what are these things? Financially, how we call it? Current assets. Current assets. These are fixed assets. Land, building, machinery, vehicle, and other fixed assets. All are fixed assets, and this working capital, current assets. So how much is working capital? You will work out. You must, yes. Then preliminary and pre-operative expenses. Preliminary and pre-operative expenses. What is that one? So it's a new project. If it's a new project, so there may be some preliminary work they have to do. They are going to start the project. Preliminary work they are going to do. So maybe obtaining, that is company formation, company registration. So they have to spend money for the company formation, to prepare the memorandum of article of association. They have to prepare. For the preparation, company secretary they have to pay, and to register the company they have to pay. All these things, and maybe other incidental expenses they may incur while planning everything. Maybe project report preparation they have to plan, they have to pay. All these things will come. All these things we call preliminary and pre-operative. Before operation, whatever the thing they are spending. So that also will come in the project cost. Now, they are starting now. They are starting to work. So now here only actually the company is production, commercial production starting. Commercial production. So until such time, the starting until the commercial production start from the project, that period we call it preliminary and pre-operative period. During that time, what are the other expenses they are incur? We call it preliminary and pre-operative. So in case if they would have obtained loan here, obtained loan facility or credit facility they have obtained in between, and then only they are starting land development, construction of building, construction of well, obtaining electricity, machinery installation, that one, this one, everything going on. And here only commercial production start. So here they, from the loan they are spending, other expenses they incur, even interest payment during this period, interest payment during this period, that also we call preliminary or pre-operative expenses. That is a part of preliminary interest payment. So all these things will come as preliminary and pre-operative expenses. That is, once again I am telling you, now they are planning the project from that time itself till the commercial production start. The other type of expenses like company formation, company registration, project report formation, incidental expenditures, and the interest payment on loan, all these things comprises the preliminary and pre-operative expenses. So now this is the total cost of the project. Now this is the total cost of the project. And now you must plan how much the bank is going to grant. How much the bank going to grant. How much the equity contribution. Equity contribution of the borrower. Contribution. How much is the equity contribution of the borrower? So now the land actually complete equity contribution. Bank won't give. Building, yes, bank can say about up to 60%. Bank can give balance by the, and the machinery also say maybe 100% bank can give. Here may be a small amount customer. Then vehicle also certain percentage bank can give, and customers equity contribution also. Other fixed cost also, yes, maybe customer says I am financing that one. Then working capital, yeah, bank can give certain percentage. And preliminary operative expenses, customer says I will. So now the total. Here the total project cost. This is the bank financing, and this is the customer's equity contribution. And then debt equity, DBT, debt equity, debt equity ratio. What is the debt equity ratio? That is, how much is the bank, how much? So maybe bank 70%, customer 30%. Bank 70%. That is, out of the total project cost, 30% will be made by equity contribution of the customer, and the bank may finance the balance 70%. So this is project cost, that is investment plan estimation. For you have to calculate. Or if the appraisal report, if the project report, if it is given, then you have to appraise and see whether it is acceptable, or you have to make a change. Whether in the project report, what is given in the project report is acceptable, or whether you have to make a change. And so based on this one, so this is the projected finance. Based on that one, you have to make the projected financial statement for the maybe for the next 3 years or 5 years, how the project will operate. The balance sheet you have to project, profit and loss statement you have to project, cash flow statement you have to project. All these three, based on the analysis, you have to project. Maybe in the project report, they would have made the projection. They would have given the projected financial statement, that is cash flow statement, P&L statement, and balance sheet statement, they would have given. But you must check whether it is acceptable. Whether it is acceptable. Then you have to do the ratio analysis. Various types of ratios, you have to do the analysis. This, of course, maybe in some other module, they would have taught you. You would have followed some other financial module. They are, of course, they would have done how to do this analysis, ratio analysis, profitability ratio analysis, liquidity ratio analysis, solvency ratio analysis, and then debt service cover ratio analysis. So based on the projected financial statement, so now this is the project cost. You have to do it, you have to plan it. And this debt equity ratio should be acceptable limit. Actually, the banks are accepting minimum 30%, 25 to 30% should come from the customer. The balance only the bank can finance. So based on that one, yes, you have to work out. I am raising it. And the project I have told you, financial statement. One is operating financial statement. Other one is projected financial statement. Here, balance sheet, P&L, cash flow. So this is okay, the last 3 years. Yes. And this is projected, future period. Here also, balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow. You have to prepare projects. Here also, based on that one, how is the ratio analysis in the past? Ratio analysis. Past ratio analysis. Here the future ratio analysis. So based on the projected financial statement, you must see ratio analysis. Whether those are acceptable financially, whether those are acceptable profitability analysis, liquidity analysis, solvency, debt service cover ratio, whether those are within the accepted limit. And you have to be satisfied. In your appraisal, you have to satisfy yourself. Definitely they would have given in the project report. If it is not given, you must ask them. And then you have to appraise it. Actually, a good project report should have all these information. A good project report should have all these information clearly stated down. Clearly stated information should be there. All these information should be there in a well-prepared project report. If it is not there, you must ask them. And then you must see, appraise it and see whether it is acceptable. And finally, investment financial appraisal. Investment financial appraisal. So, ratio analysis, there is another analysis, that is time value of money. By considering time value of money, there are of course net present value, NPV, and then FIRR, financial internal rate of return analysis. And we must carry out those analysis and get ourselves satisfied it is within the acceptable range or limit. This NPV and the FIRR are within the acceptable range. We must get satisfied. Actually, we will be doing this NPV and FIRR in our next class. We will be doing. But these things you would have done. Maybe what is it? Ratio analysis, profitability, liquidity, solvency, debt service cover ratio, everything. Maybe in your financial module they would have done. This NPV and FIRR I'll be doing in one of the classes in future. Okay, right. This is financial appraisal. After that, economic appraisal. This is also important for a SME projects. In the case of projects, this economic analysis is also very important. In the economic analysis, what and what things? Whether how far this project is beneficial to the country. How far this project which you are handling now or which you are appraising now is beneficial to the country which you are going to do on the economic appraisal. Labor intensity. How many labor will be employed? Direct and indirect employer. Sorry, direct and indirect employees. How many will be benefited by this project? What is the cost per labor? What is the investment cost per labor? So total investment cost, you find out how many labor will be employed. So per employee, per labor, what is the investment cost? Analyze. Similarly, export orientation. How far this project is export oriented? Thereby, how far this project can earn foreign exchange. Earn foreign exchange. These are economic benefits to the country. Then import substitution. So whether this project is helping to substitute imports That is reduction in import, whether this project will help or assist reduction in import, that is import substitution, thereby saving foreign exchange, thereby saving foreign exchange. Then local raw material usage. How far this project is going to use local raw material usage, thereby value addition, thereby value addition. And again, import of raw material will be reduced. In case if we are importing raw material from other countries, instead of that when we are using the local raw material, then again foreign exchange savings. Then the value addition, again economic benefit to the country. What are the other economic benefits from these projects? To calculate all these things, to bring to the value, then we calculate EIRR, economic internal rate of return. This is also another calculation to see the economic benefits from a project to the country. What are the total economic benefits to the country by a project? We calculate EIRR. But in this session, we won't calculate EIRR. There is no provision to do that one. Only FIRR, that is financial internal rate of return. So this is economic appraisal. And finally, yes, now, so economic appraisal, if all the appraisals are really acceptable, first of course, marketing appraisal, then technical appraisal, entrepreneurial appraisal, then environment appraisal, financial appraisal, finally economic appraisal. So final one, economic appraisal. If all these appraisal, by doing this appraisal, if you are satisfied, then okay, you can consider granting a facility to this project. If all this, but if there is any risk, if you identify any risk in this appraisal, then you must find ways and means to reduce this risk. How can you reduce the risk? That also you have to prepare. How can you reduce the risk? Right. So if everything is okay, then you can call the customer for the interview. Now you have gone through the project report, appraised all these things, and now you are somewhat satisfactory. So now you can call the customer for the interview. So the interview should be open and straightforward. Mark the gray areas. So before interview, you would have gone through the project report, done all the appraisal, gray areas, questionable areas you mark. And at the time of interview, you must ask those things. See whether you are getting a satisfactory answer for those gray areas or the questions. Examine the client's interest and knowledge. At the time of interview only, you can examine the customer's knowledge and the real interest in the project. Customer should have some knowledge, maybe at least the technical know-how he should have. At least the technical know-how he should have. Other areas he can hire the people. Right? So examine the client's interest and knowledge. If necessary, make suggestion and recommendation. Okay, right. If you are satisfied with the interview, then you can go for inspection. So this is in a sequence. This is done in a project appraisal. This is as a credit officer or a credit manager, you have done in a sequence. Right. And now if everything is okay, you can go for the inspection. If you are satisfied at the interview, give a date and the time for the inspection at the end. Prepare before inspection, you have to prepare yourself. Prepare groundwork for inspection. Go through already collected information and make notes. Item to be checked. What are you going to check there? Details to be looked into at the time of inspection. Yes. What are the items you are going to check? What are the things you are going to look at? And questions to be asked. Make a visit plan. You must plan your visit. Make a visit plan. You must plan your visit. There is actually in the case of inspection, there are two types of scenarios. One is new enterprise. One is or new project. Other one is existing project. Existing enterprise. So the inspection will be almost same, but there may be certain different things you have to. Right. So new enterprise. In the case of new enterprise, sometimes you may know there may be nothing for you to see. There may be nothing for you to see. Right. So the location. You must look, where the new project is coming. The location of the project. And what are the fixed assets, if available, any fixed assets, whether any fixed assets available, that is land, building, plants and machinery, vehicles, other fixed assets, whether any fixed assets are available in the case of new project. And then availability of utilities. Yes, what are the utilities? Electricity, and then water, roadways, basic communication facilities. What are the availability of utilities you have to look in. So these are the basic things necessary for a new project. So you must get satisfied. Then the other factors, example, manpower, labor. If it is a labor intensive project, then the required labor is available in the surrounding area. And whether the raw materials are used, whether the raw materials are available in the area or close by. So these are the things you must look at in the case of new enterprise. Location of the enterprise. So if it is a new enterprise, so you must be satisfied with the location. Very important. Access to the site. How you will be going to the site, then access. Whether it is by the side of a main road, or if it is interior, whether there is another road leading to this land, project site, how you will access to the site. How you will access to the site. You have to look at. And then transport facilities, whether transport facilities are available. Depending the type of the project, the type of the transport facilities. Sometimes you have to send by train. So whether it is closer to the railway station, you have to import or export, send your products out by way of train, then whether there is a railway station close by. Or main road is close by. What are the transport facilities available? So you must see that one. Then the raw material supply line. Yes, if you are using the raw material, how the raw material will come in? With the raw material supply line, we call it. How the raw material is come, whether it is available in the nearby, the close by area or nearby area, or whether you have to get it from some long distance. In that case, how raw material supply line. Then the labor availability. So if it is labor intensive, like a garment factory, if it is like a garment factory, whether garment experienced labor, whether it is available in the area or close by, you have to find out. And the environment suitability, whether the environment is suitable, for the project. That also you have to assess depending on the nature of the project. So depending on the nature of the project, you have to assess. And especially in the case of location of the enterprise, you must see whether sometime the land may get go underwater. In a rainy season, it may go underwater, inundated. So that is very important. You have to look at it. You must speak to some people and see about the location, about the area, whether it goes underwater in a heavy rain or rainy season, whether it goes under. especially in the case of livestock projects, poultry farming. If the land is going underwater, the customer may lose. The entire bird population may get affected. So these are the things you must look at. Land. What is the extent or the nature of the land? What is the extent of the land? The nature of the land. Nature means whether it is a hilly or undulating land. In that case, it has to be leveled, a rocky land, or marshy land, or sandy land. So these are problematic lands. Whether area is close by area is infested with elephants. After starting the project, elephants may come and attack. Wild animals may come and attack. So you must have. This has happened in certain projects, especially agricultural livestock project. They have established, spent millions of money. They have spent, and then only they have found out that area is infested with elephants, and in the night they get affected. So they have to make some preventive measures, spending a lot of money to prevent elephants coming and attacking. So the extent, nature of the land, you must see. This is the inspection. Whether land development is required. So depending on the type of the land, you must assess whether land development is necessary. Whether the land has to be filled, leveled, whether you have to put up retaining wall, drainage facilities to be built up. Drainage facilities built up. Then year of purchase, when they have purchased it, what was the purchase price? What was the purchase price of the land? And what is the present price, current value? You have to estimate. You must have to estimate what may be the current value of the land. So regarding this land, in the case of new projects, you have to do all these things. Just go and see, look and coming is won't help. So each and everything you must find out, because these are the risky factors. These are the risky factors which may affect your loan. Without considering these risky factors, if you grant the facility, it will affect your loan. The loan may go bad. So you must take the necessary preventive measures. So keep it in mind, the risky factors at every moment you have to look at in the case of this project. Then the buildings, structures. Whether there are any buildings. In the case of new projects, maybe sometimes there may be some buildings may be there. So you must find out nature. What is the nature of the building? Mode of construction. Approximate age. When this building was constructed. Nature. What type of building? How it is constructed. With a brick wall or cement blocks or water and down. How the building is constructed. What is the floor area? Length and breadth. Or what is the cubic area? Length and breadth and height. Maybe to use, in case using their stores, you will take the cubic area. Then what may be the construction value? How much they would have spent to construct this building? And what is the present value? You have to estimate. Then what are the utilities available? Water. It is a pipe-on water or tube well or open duct well. Electricity, single phase or double phase, three phase, or no electricity at all. In certain areas, there may be no electricity. Yes. You have to find communication. Whether signals are there. Now, of course, all mobile phones and other things. And Wi-Fi, broadband. So whether signals are there. And then, yes, utilities, must find out. Then plant layout, if there is any plant or machineries, plant layout. If there is any problems with these plants, yeah. whether need for expansion. In case if they want to expand, whether need expansion is necessary. Whether the expansion is necessary. If they have the plant and machinery and other thing, if they want to expand it, so the expansion is necessary to have. Machinery and equipment. Right. Now the time is 3:15. We have a small break. 3:15. We meet by 3:30. Okay. So we have a small break. Again, we meet by 3:30. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you. We continue thereafter. Right. Maybe if it is an already existing project, yeah, there may be machinery and equipment. So you have to inspect those things also. What are the make, model, identification number? Actually, in certain machineries, there is identification number is there. Then you have to take it down. Then the install capacity. I have already explained the meaning of install capacity. What is the maximum capacity of the machinery per unit of time? What is it? So how much it can produce, maybe per 8-hour shift or per day if 24 hours if it is working. On that basis, what is the install capacity? What is the maximum output that machinery can give? What is the maximum output that machinery can give? Then, what is the purchase price? At what price it was purchased? What is the present value of that machinery? You can estimate it. Then service contract. Whether a service contract is available with the supplier of the machinery, they would have entered with some service contract to service the machinery periodically, whether it is available. Whether it is available. Then history of machine repairs. So whether this machine, whether there is earlier, whether this machine is repaired. So if it is so, what is the history of the machine repairs? And evident technical problem. Currently, whether this machinery has any problem. Whether this machinery has any problem. So you have to note it down. You must get the information. You have to take it. Then, yeah, this is regarding the machinery. So you are inspecting now, whether it is a new enterprise or already entered. So I am giving you how to do the inspection. So one by one, the land, what and what things you have to look into. Then buildings, what and what things you have to look into. Then the machinery, what and what things you have to look into at the time of inspection. those information. So this is, of course, in a broad way I am giving you. So depending on the necessity, you have to use it. Depending on the necessity, yeah, the information you have to collect. So this information, what I am giving you, it is cover all type of your inspection, whether it is agricultural inspection or industrial inspection or service industry, hotel or whatever it is, you can use it. Then the vehicles, if they have vehicles, right, make, model, registration number. What are the vehicle? What type of vehicle? So they make, model, registration number. Correct. Purchase price. What was the purchase price? What is the current price? Current value of the vehicle. State of repairs. Whether any repairs underwent some repairs. If it is so, those details. What type of state of repairs of these vehicles. Other fixed assets. I have already told you what do you mean by other fixed asset. Furniture, office equipment, yes, ancillary power, standby generator, air conditioners, fire extinguishers, tools. So what are the things available? What are the things available? When it was purchased? What was the purchase price? What is the current value of this item? This other fixed assets. What is the current value? Whether those things need any repairs. All this information you have to collect. Other fixed assets. Then the inventory. So inventory. You have to get the information about the inventory also. The stocks. Inventory stock. Raw material stocks. Work in process stock. Finished goods stock. All these things. So raw material. So what are the raw material used in the production? So all those details. Raw material. What are the types? What is the quantity? Then work in progress. So work in progress. What is the meaning of work in progress? Here this is raw material. This is processed and finished good. Processed. So in between, when this raw material is processed, finished good, in between, that we call it work in process or progress. Both are correct. Work in process or work in progress. So in the case of garment, here the fabric, example, fabric. Here the garment, finished good. So here in between. In between, you may have without the collar or that the body itself, without buttonhole or with button like that, piece. And then step by step, finally, everything assembled, ironed, packed, and yes, finished good. So in between, those are called as work in process or work in progress. So stock of work in progress also. This is the case of garment. Similarly, in the case of what we have seen, the paddy milling, finished product is rice. Here, raw material is paddy. So in between work in progress, that is the husk removed paddy, that is husk rice, maybe with colored particles, maybe with stone and sand. Those are work in progress. And finally, everything is removed and the final rice, that is polished rice, packed. That is the finished product. In between, those are work in progress. Right. So raw material, work in progress stock, finished good stock, you must examine, and consumable. What are the other consumables you are using in this process? What are the other consumables you are using in this process? Then packing material, all these things, the inventory, all these things we call inventory. Then what is the quantity available and what is the value of that one? What is the quantity available and what is the value of this one? Then the obsolete stock. There may be obsolete stock. What is the meaning of obsolete stock? Obsolete stock means cannot be used. Cannot be used. There may be obsolete stock, raw material stock obsolete, and finished good stock obsolete, maybe, cannot be used. So one reason may be outdated. One reason may be outdated. Out fashion, especially garments, the fashion has gone, cannot be sold for the price. So that is obsolete. Maybe similarly, raw material cannot be used in the processing. It is outdated, obsolete. So obsolete stock may be outdated stock or outstyled, the fashion has gone, cannot be used, cannot be sold. That is obsolete stock. So you must find out. Otherwise, if the obsolete stock is there, the current asset value will be inflated. If they include obsolete stock also will make the current asset. So because of the obsolete stock, the current asset value may get inflated. So what you have to do, you have to remove the obsolete stock from the current assets. Then only you will get the correct current asset value. In the bottleneck in processing, that I have already I have explained to you. The bottlenecks in processing, that is because of the machinery unbalanced machinery, there may be bottlenecks in processing. Whether machinery balancing is needed. So in that case, whether machinery is to be balanced. Then similarly, then finished goods. You must examine the finished goods, whether there are any quality problem. Yeah, quality may be the anticipated quality may be not there. Because of that one, they are unable to sell. So sales problem, any other sales problem may be due to various other reasons. Maybe due to competition, maybe due to poor quality, maybe obsolete stock. Yeah, there are various reasons. So the finished goods you must examine and see whether there are any quality problem or any sales problem you have to see. Then the workforce. Workforce. Number in each category. The workforce maybe there are in different categories. Maybe skilled labor, unskilled labor, casual labor, permanent employees, night watchers, like that. So number in, so what are the categories of labor force, workforce? What is the number available in each category? You must collect that. Wage rates. So what is the wage rate for each category? And mode of payment, how do they pay? Whether daily pay or weekly pay or 2 weeks payment or monthly payment or credit to the accounts. So what is the mode of payment? And then overcrowd, whether there is excess labor. Whether there is excess labor. Sometimes some factory owners, they employ laborers. Even without they may be not needed, but anyway they employ. So that will lead to the loss of the company. That will obviously lead to the loss of the company. So whether it is overcrowded. So for that you must know what is the actual requirement of labor. What is the actual requirement of labor for each type of work. So you must find out and whether there is overcrowd. On the other hand, whether there is labor shortage. That is also possible in the case of garment factories, labor shortage. So they used to send the vehicles to the other district and other places, get down laborers to work in their factory. So in the case of garment factories, labor shortage is very acute. So in regard to workforce, these information you have to collect. Then the management team. So now you are doing the appraisal. After appraisal, that is document appraisal is over, and then interview. Now this is also part of appraisal, that is inspection. So each category by each category you must collect information. Now the management team. So position and numbers. So what are the actual requirement? Cadre requirement. We call it cadre requirement. What is the actual cadre requirement? Management team. What are the position? What is the requirement? And then what is the number available now? what is the number is in management position. They each one experience, qualification, salary paid to them. What are the other fringe benefits? Whether vehicles are provided, whether the medical facilities are provided, what are the other fringe benefits provided to them? And then, the important thing, how is the interpersonal relationship? So that how is the relationship among themselves? That is very important. If the relationship is sound and good, that institution can go forward well. If the personal relationship, interpersonal relationship among the management team members, then the institution can go forward well. If there is problem in the interpersonal relationship among the management team, then it will jeopardize the company progress. It will affect the company's progress. So these things also you have to analyze and give importance, and you have to analyze. Then the operation. Install and utilize capacity. I have already told you what is the install capacity. What is the maximum production per unit of time, maybe per day or per 8-hour shift. On that basis, what is the maximum production of a machinery? Then what is the utilized capacity? A machinery can, as an example, a machinery can produce 1,000 units per hour. That machine can work continuously and it can produce 1,000 units per hour. But that machinery is producing only 500 units. So what is that is the utilized capacity. 1,000 units is the installed capacity, 500 units is the utilized capacity. So capacity utilization is 500 divided by 1,000 into 100. 500, that is 500 units. This is the utilized capacity. 1,000, it is the installed capacity. This is installed capacity. This is utilized capacity into 100. So that is 50% capacity utilization. Capacity this is very important. Capacity utilization is 50%. Then average daily production, then turnover. What is a turnover? What is a daily production? How much the machineries, from the machinery, how much they are producing. Then sale and production statistic. So that also you must collect. Production statistics, how much? And the sales statistics. Per unit of time or per day or per quarter or per half year or per year. What is the production? What is the sale? That statistic you must get. Then the service billing. The service billing also in the operation. So services, how they are billed, how they are paid. Service billing. That information you must collect. Then the wage record. Each category, wage record you must collect. What is the number of employees? What is the wage rate? How much paid? How much total salary per month or per year? Those information you have to collect. Then statutory obligation. Yes, legal, mandatory obligation. That means statutory obligation means whether they are paying EPF, ETF of the employee. Those are statutory obligation. By legally, they have to make the payment. EPF payment, ETF payment, and then the inland revenue payment, tax payments, all these all different types of tax payment, whether they are paid regularly. Statutory obligation, how they honor the statutory obligation, also important. Sometimes, if they fail to obey their statutory obligation, if the relevant department files a case, these people have to pay. By default, these people have to pay. Maybe big amount that will affect your repayment. So statutory payment also obligation also, whether they are honoring their statutory obligations, you have to look into. Then the process problem. So in the production, whether there are any other problems, whether they are facing any other problem. Maybe getting the raw material in time may be a problem. Getting the labor in time also may be a problem. Then marketing may be a problem, or the processing, whether there are any other problem. You have to find out. Then future prospects first. Then how is the future prospect for this industry, for this project? How is the future prospect for this industry? So that is your conclusion. You have to, whether this project or industry will do well. Points to remember. So after the inspection, you have to remember these things. Take down notes in the field visit book. During the visit, while you are visiting, you must take the points, your observation, you have to write in the field visit book. Then write the report immediately after return. After coming back from the inspection to your office, you write the report then and there. Because sometimes if there is a delay, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, you may forget. So you have written down in your lesson, you may, whether what is this one, you may think. So you may forget. So then and there, complete the report. Set a format. So you set a format for your report writing. Maybe on the top, what is the purpose? Then what is the name of the company which you have visited? What is the address? What is the site address? How to go to that address? How to go to that site? Your observations. And then with the discussion, what are your observations with the management team of the company? All these things you have to take down. You have to prepare include in your report, inspection report. And who have associated with you in your visit, who have come. All those information you have to include in the inspection report. Right. Then risk analysis and mitigation of risk. I have told you, while appraising the report, while having the interview, while doing the inspection, all this time you must find out whether there are any risk involved in this project. You must try to identify. In the marketing analysis, whether there is any risk. In the technical analysis, whether there are any risk. In the managerial analysis, whether there are any risk. In the financial analysis, whether there are any risk. In the environment analysis, whether there are any risk. And in the economic analysis, whether there are any risk. Yes, definitely there will be a risk. That may affect the project, affect the industry by various ways. So you must identify those risks and you must try to provide safeguards to mitigate those risks. You must try to provide then and there. So those safeguards will come as the conditions. So you have identified these are the risk or risk factors. I have identified this risk factor in the marketing. I have identified this risk factor in the technology of the project. So to minimize those risks, you are providing safeguards. So you must discuss with the customers. You are providing these safeguards as the condition. They have to adhere to these conditions. So the conditions are to minimize the risk, to mitigate the risk. Only the banks are putting the condition to mitigate the risk, to reduce the risk. The banks are putting the condition. Right. So identify risk, if any. That is hazard, risk factors. When you do this appraisal, identify risk factors and lack of safeguard. That also will provide that also will create the risk. If there is no safeguard, that also will result in risk. So risk mitigation, how you are going to mitigate, reduce the risk, provide safeguards, various safeguard conditions, and then insurance of assets or insurance of crops. If you think there is a risk factor, there may be flood, there may be drought, there may be crop failure. So if there is crop failure, the customer may not be able to pay back. So to mitigate that one, insurance, you are telling the customer, you have to insure these crops. Or you have to insure these animals. There may be a disease outbreak, the animal may die. To prevent that one, to mitigate that risk, yes, you have to insure the animals. So insurance of assets, or crops in the case of agriculture, in the case of livestock, insurance of livestock, yes. And apart from that, monitoring also, project monitoring, pre and post credit supervision, pre and post credit sanction, pre and post credit sanction supervision. That is before approving the loan and after approving the loan, yeah, supervision, follow up. So these are certain measures to minimize the risk, mitigate the risk mitigation. Apart from that, obtain suitable collateral if the risk you think is high. If you think the risk is high, obtain suitable collateral. Then the customer will have customer will be more careful with the project because he has given his valuable property to the bank. So it will create, the customers, yes, customer think I have given my valuable property, I have to safeguard the property, so I have to operate this project or operate this industry very carefully without any losses. So he will be more careful with the project. So these are risk mitigation in regard to these industrial projects at the field level, at the branch level, Credit risk, to prevent the credit risk. Right. Now, the credit structuring. If everything is okay, now you are structure the credit. We call it credit packaging. For this, to match the requirement of the industry, to match the requirement of the project, you are giving structuring the credit. That is, you are giving a package of credit facility, credit packaging. So before that, you must know the bank is providing various type of credit facilities. I must say, because I don't know whether anybody has done that one. It is not there in this type of credit facilities. Various credit facilities. Basically, credit facilities. Funded, non-funded, funded loans, overdrafts, bill purchasing, loans or ODs, bill purchasing, and discounting. Funded. Then OD, TOD, POD, permanent overdraft facility, and there is one called casual overdraft, casual OD facilities. TOD, POD, right. Bill purchasing, check purchasing, and then discounting. Then bill, purchasing and discounting. Under LC, letter of credit, under documentary credit. Documentary credit. Is the bill purchasing? So now the loans. Short-term loan, medium-term loan, long-term loan. These are based on repayment. These are based on repayment. Then mortgage loan, that is movable properties, immovable properties, mortgage. Then pledge loan. Pledge loan. These are short-term loan. These are generally medium and long-term loans. The mortgage loan, mortgage of movable and immovable, pledge loan. Then trust receipt loan. Trust receipt is also short-term. Trust receipt loan. Then I hope you can see. Any problem in seeing this board? The participants? You have any problem in viewing it? If it is not clear, I will erase it and write again. I will erase this. Under here, OD, I am writing here, OD, TOD, POD, permanent overdraft, casual, OD. Right. Other one is more important, loans. Yeah, there are short-term loan, medium-term, long-term loan. Right. Now, mortgage, loans. Mortgage loan can be movable, immovable. Mortgage of movable, mortgage of immovable. Then pledge loan. This is short term. This is medium and long term. Long-term loan, pledge loan. And trust receipt loan, short term. loan. Revolving credit, or series of loan. Long term. Hypothecation loan. Hypothecation of goods. This is generally medium term. Right. So mortgage loan, pledge loan, trustee loan, revolving credit or series of loan, hypothecation loan. Yeah, these are the. So these are different types of loan facilities are extended by the bank for the customers. So depending on the necessity and type of requirement of the customer, the bank has to give to match their requirement different type of credits. And then non-funded. And then non-funded. The non-funded means bank guarantees and bonds. Bank guarantees. Different type of guarantees. Letter of guarantee. Bank letter of guarantee. Like that. Then bank, yes, bank guarantees, letter of guarantee. This is non-funded. So there are different type of credit facilities banking. So from that one, the suitable one bank has to select and give. That is credit packaging. So if the project is satisfactory, if the credit officer or the manager think he can finance this project, then he has to structure. He has to structure the credit package for that particular customer depending on their requirement. So in the case, capital investment. So to construct the building for that purpose, yes, long-term block loan. Bank can consider a long-term block loan. Maybe they may get the mortgage of the property. So it is a mortgage loan, long-term loan, block loan to construct the building. Maybe sometime to purchase a machinery locally. Bank can give a block loan. Maybe that loan can be repaid in medium term or maybe long term, depending on the cash generation. Depending on the cash flow of the project, bank has to decide. So in the case of putting construction, yeah, long-term block loan. To purchase a machinery, yeah, long-term or medium-term block loan, bank can grant. So bank will obviously get the mortgage of the product, mortgage of the property. Against that one, they will give this. So obviously, in the case of long-term loan, that should be secured by a good security, that is property mortgage. In the case of medium-term loan, even a mortgage of the machinery. Yeah, depending on that one, you have to package the credit. So it is a very important, important thing, the credit packaging. If your package is a wrong package, the project may fail. So you have to be very careful when you are packaging the credit facility for a project, for an industry. Then the permanent working capital. Yeah, that is also the important thing. So now I am erasing this. I have already explained to you. Now, investment. Project investment, we call it. If it is a project investment. First is fixed capital. That capital is invested in fixed assets. What are the fixed assets? Land, building, vehicle, machinery, other fixed assets. Other fixed assets. So this is a fixed capital. And other one, operating capital or working capital. Or working capital. Other one is that is also permanent investment. Investment on working capital, that is permanent investment. Operating capital or working capital. In current assets. Current assets. Current asset, this is fixed assets. Fixed asset, fixed capital on fixed asset for the investment on land, building, machinery, vehicle, other. Other one is operating capital or the working capital. Investment on operating capital or working capital, that is on current asset. What are the current assets? Raw material, work in process, finished good, and credit sales. Then other deposits. Sometimes they have to keep deposits. These are current assets. So this is making the working capital. So how can you working capital? Working capital is always working. So the raw material is converted into raw material. These are all working material. So this will be converted into work in process. Work in process again, finished good. That will be sold, credit sale, and then there is cash. Cash also current asset. Cash. That is bank and hand. Cash at bank and hand. It becomes as the cash. And then cash will go to raw material. With the cash, you purchase raw material. So again, raw material work in process, finished good, credit sale, cash. Cash again, raw material. This is cash cycle. This is cycle. So it is revolving. It is revolving. So how can you finance? Working capital. Either you can give a long-term loan, either financing the working capital. Financing the working capital. Either you may give a long-term loan, one way, other way, since it is circulating, you can give a POD, permanent overdraft. When the cash comes, the cash will be credited to the bank account. Again, it will be utilized, purchased. So raw material work in process. So POD, you can give POD. And then, so to purchase the raw material like seed paddy, you can give a pledge loan. Pledge loan. You can give a pledge loan. So these are for working capital. And then to purchase raw material or trading goods, you can give TR facility, trust receipt facility, trust receipt facility. You can give trust receipt facility. Then, so these things, of course, now this pledge loan, trust receipt, these things to purchase locally as well as imported item also. You can give. If the industry is importing the raw material, yes, you can give a pledge loan for them to import. You can give a trust receipt facility for them to import. For the import, you will give a letter of credit facility. Under letter of credit facility. Under letter of credit facility, you can give. Similarly, revolving credit you can give. Or revolving credit or series of loans. So these loans can be granted. This one, POD, pledge loan, trust receipt loan, revolving credit, series of loan for the working capital. For the working capital. That's why either you can give long-term or medium-term block loan or POD or other facilities. Now, raw material, import or local purchase, import facilities, LC limit, under LC limit, pledge loan, TR loan, hypothecation loan, series of loan, and letter of guarantee also. To purchase raw material from a supplier, the bank can give letter of guarantee, letter of guarantee. So these are the, you must consider all these credit facilities to match the customer's requirement. To match the project requirement, you must select a suitable credit facility and provide. So that is credit structuring. And in the case of product export, if the customer is export, you can grant pre and post shipment credit facilities. There are pre and post shipment credit facilities also there. Those are also working capital. Those are also working capital facility. That is packing credit facility. Packing credit facility you can give. So this is credit structuring, very, very important. Then after that one, you must decide project implementation schedule. If everything is okay, you have structured, you have addressed the risk and mitigate the risk also, ways and means you have identified and putting as condition to mitigate or reducing the risk. And then you have structured what and what credit facility you are going to give to match the customer's requirement, and then project implementation schedule, how the project will be implemented. I am raising this. Project implementation plan. So now there you can implementation schedule. There are ways, different ways to give. One is horizontal bar chart. By horizontal bar chart, you can mention how to implement this project. Then there is network analysis, critical path method. This network analysis and critical path method are generally for very big projects, public projects they are doing it. For the private projects, the banks are financing the private project like SME project, we can use the horizontal bar chart. So what is this horizontal bar chart? Horizontal bar chart for project implementation schedule. Now, here, this axis, activities. What are the activities? Project activities. Here the time frame. So now is the project activities. Again, the time frame. Project activities. So in this axis, you will mention what are the project activities. So if it is again paddy milling project, so they have identified the land, location is okay, they have allocated about 2 acres land for this paddy milling project. So first, of course, land development. Various activities. Land development. Then land development, parapet wall or fencing, everything. From the very beginning, that may land development fencing, maybe 1 month. Okay, maybe 1 month. So here now we time frame. This is 0, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It will go further. It will go further. Right. Oh, here land development and fencing, leveling and all those things. Right. Maybe 1 month. Right. Maybe 1 month. Then after the land development, other important activity, electricity connection, and water. And water H2O connection. After the land development, that may be about say 1 week, short period, maybe within 2 weeks, they can do it. Right. So 1.5 weeks. Right. After that, construction of building. Construction of buildings. This also you can break into factory building, storage building, and then office building, then managers' quarters, then workers' quarters, like that. But anyway, then after obtaining so this is the first activity, this is the second activity, this is the third activity. So it may take about 3 or 4 months construction of building, all these buildings. So after obtaining the electricity and the water connection, only you can start. So from here, it may go for about up to this period. Right. Construction of building. Then other activity at the same time, obtaining approvals, various approval, local government authority approval, that one, this one, everything. That also parallelly with the initial phase they can do it. So that also will take about 1 month. Actually, they would have done all these things, then only they can start other work. So obtaining the approval. Right. Obtaining the approval. Approvals. Then ordering machineries. Ordering machinery, various machinery. In the case of paddy milling, you have seen so many machineries. So you have to, that also, after obtaining the approval, they can order the machinery. That also, yes, maybe about within ordering the machinery. Then after the machinery comes, now construction of buildings also okay, and installation of machinery. So after completion of the buildings only that can be done. So from here, after the installation of the machinery. That also may take about 1 month. Right. Installation of machinery. Then next one. Employee management team. That also, at the time of installation of machineries, that also can be done. Employee management team. Employee workers. That also maybe after employing this one. Yes. With the assistance of the management team only, you can employ the workers. Then ordering and collection of raw material. This also can be done here. So now the raw material there, workers there, management team there, machineries are installed. So test run of production test run. That also will go for about 2 weeks. Thereafter, if everything is satisfactory, commercial production. Commercial production. Commercial production and marketing. It goes on. Commercial production and marketing. It will go on. So here, this is the project implementation schedule. Implementation plan you have to. So all the necessary activities will be written down. And again the time frame. So here you will plot like this. And here, for certain activities, bank has to finance. Certain activities, customers equity. So whenever the bank finance, you know from what, now land development and fencing or petrol, that is customers. Electricity and water connection, that is customers. Construction of building, here the bank funding is coming. Here the bank funding is coming. Here certain percentage. And then obtaining approval, that is there. Then ordering machinery, yes, the bank fund is coming here. Altogether, ordering machines. So now, what amount where to release? The amount of loan, what amount, for what purpose, when to release, will be decided by this implementation schedule plan. For what purpose the bank has to bank fund to be released, how much to be released, to whom it should be released, everything will be based on this implementation schedule. So depending on the amount released, what is the interest payment, yes, that also will be calculated based on this implementation schedule. So now, horizontal bar chart. First you have to prepare like that. And then release of loan component. Release of loan component. You have already approved. This is the loan amount. For what and what purposes? And how to release? Stage payment. What are the stages? You are going to release the loan component. Then what is the amount? How much you are going to release? Condition for lease of payment. Yeah, what are the conditions you are putting for the lease of payment? The amount released earlier should have been utilized, and the anticipated equity contribution should have come. So you had to carry out inspection to see whether they have utilized the amount released already correctly, perfectly, and whether the anticipated equity contribution has come into this. So based on that one, then this is the release of components. So you have to carry out inspection and see. Then the loan repayment. That also you have to decide now. How he is going to decide repayment period, grace period, if any. Now, so in this case, whether we can ask the customers to pay from the first day itself. The loan, no, you can't. From first month onward, you can't, because this is going to generate income after this period. After maybe a 10-month period only, this will generate the income. So you must give it 1 month or 2 months. So better give a grace period up to 12 months. Now, because there may be certain things would happen also because of that one, you are giving 2 more months. Actually, the commercial production start from 10 months. After that, they have to sell and they have to collect the money. Then only they can repay. So first 12 months, based on this implementation plan or schedule, you give a grace period of 12 months. So thereafter, depending on the cash flow, they have to pay. But during this 12 months, the customer has to pay the interest from his pocket. I have already told you what is that one? Pre-operative, preliminary interest. This is pre-operative period. This is the pre-operative period. Pre-op period. So during the grace period, customer has to pay the interest. So from his money, that interest we call it pre-operative or preliminary interest. Customer has to pay. Pre-operative and preliminary interest customer has to pay. So the repayment period, grace period, if any, this where we decide. So grace period based on this one, based on this implementation schedule, and thereafter installment based on the cash flow. Based on the cash flow, you have to decide and tell him nature of the installment. Maybe in this case, monthly installment. Maybe sometimes, some cases, bi-monthly agricultural project, maybe bi-monthly or quarterly or even half-yearly agricultural. So depending on the cash generation, cash flow, you fix the repayment period and repayment amount installment. So this is loan repayment. Okay, right. So this is right. Okay, this is the one. So this is the one. Of course, I hope you would have understood. If you have any problem, who is there? Imal sir, you are there? Hello. Okay. Anyway, I have I have finished this one. I have got one more lecture on this subject. That is investment analysis. I'll be doing maybe next week or week after next. I will be doing that one. So if you have any problem, you can contact me. What I have taught in these 2 sessions, last one and this session. If you have any problem, you can contact me.